we got some tea to discuss. In this video, I want to go over 2024. I want to go over the do's and the don'ts, the failures of 2024, going completely off-grid living for the first time. So far, it's almost a year. It's going to be a year in May, so we are almost a year being completely off-grid in southern Nevada desert, high mountain deserts, in the middle of nowhere. So let's go walk the property because my little girl is watching her videos right now. So going completely off-grid is one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I'll say that. It took so long for me to go completely off-grid. I'm in my 40s. So gonna be I don't want to say it, maybe 44 this year, guys. Oh god. But nonetheless, I'm able to go off grid. But I did live in the city for over 30 years of my life, and I went just a year ago from city life to country life, going from Vegas to Pahrump, Nevada. Living a year in Pahrump, Nevada, I sold everything I had in Vegas, moved out to Pahrump, Nevada, bought an acre of land and a small family home. It was like an old ranch home. It was a single wide module. There was a septic. It had a well with a well pump and everything like that. And I sold it. I sold it to go completely off grid. Bought myself a new truck, a Chevy Silverado, which by the way is the best investment I've ever done since going off grid. Chevy's the way to go. I'll just say that. It's been our saving grace, and it's been our life savior in many situations since going off grid. But nonetheless, that is the best thing. And then I bought a trailer and I bought land. So here comes the don'ts. Number one, do not, I repeat, do not trust your realtor, meaning even if it's a friend, even if you think you know them, always do your diligence. Do double diligence. Make sure that they're doing their diligence, because you will come across, when you're searching for land and property, you will come across many listings that list off-grid property, homestead, all of these things. But because you don't check the zoning codes, every county has them, even in very rural areas, you will get stuck. And that's what happened to me. So I had a realtor. I trusted her to do her deep diligence for me. And I worked with her before in the city, but she did not do her complete diligence out here in rural county, open desert properties and land. And I ended up purchasing an acre of land, and I couldn't live on it. I couldn't renovate nothing. It was completely zoned for residential, not off-grid or homestead living at all. So because of that, I lost some money. I had to put it back on the market. Thank God it wasn't violated, because I explained to the county officer. She was very friendly, very nice, very understanding, and felt very, very sorry for my situation. But nevertheless, I put it on the market. Did I make what I bought it for? No. I lost some money, but I wanted to get rid of it. So I sold it for really cheap, and someone bought it, of course. And then I came out here and I thought way too big. So there's the second mistake. Don't think too big. I thought too big, and I wanted to purchase more acreage because it was a lot cheaper out here in this small rural town. So that's what I did, and I ended up purchasing 5 acres of land. And then I realized how difficult it is to keep up 5 acres. And it's difficult to keep up an acre, let alone 5. I was not able to work on all 5 acres. I was only able to work an acre. And this is what it looks like. So this is my 1 acre clear out that I was able to do. And I was able to do type 2 gravel up the driveway and under the trailer. But all that out there is still the 5 acreage that I could not touch. All here, still my property. I cannot touch it because it's so much work. And it's so incredibly expensive to do a clear out and to get type 2 gravel up here. Type 2 gravel is not expensive. It's one of the least expensive gravel materials you can purchase. But to get it up here, it is extremely pricey. A lot of companies charge you by mile, and usually they will charge you, some of them $75 to $120 to $250 a mile just to get material out here, guys. So I learned that very quickly, and the type 2 gravel is under the trailer, and it's my entire drive up is type 2 gravel. So that way I could able to drive the truck on the property, because before I could not drive the truck on the property. Before I was parking the truck out there. And because I did the type 2 gravel, all where the dumpster is, all this drive up is type 2, the truck, and under the trailer, we're able to get on the property. So there is the second mistake, not realizing the cost of getting materials up here is very pricey and very, very expensive. So do your diligence and make sure that you really measure out how many miles between the nearest town for resources, nearest, and how much the companies charge you to get materials to you. All of that is cost, and it will eat up your savings very quickly, especially when you have a lot of acreage. If you have just 1 acre or half an acre, I think it would have been a whole lot better for me, just because it's a lot more easier to manage that, and really, really cost friendly and effective, especially being a single mother and a single parent. Living off grid and going completely off grid. So, and number 3 or 4, the next failure is I lost a whole lot of crops during garden season. So I am a regenerative farmer. I follow regenerative practices. I'm a no-till grower, a gardener. I like to plant cover crops, and my idea was to plant out a good half of this acre with cover crops, and then I would be able to grow in them. But I quickly realized after I did the acre clear out that the soil of my property that I purchased is extremely difficult to get cover crops growing, and I will show you what I mean. So I'll take you over here where there's no type 2 gravel. I didn't do this back corner of type 2 gravel, so yep, right here I can feel it already. So for example, this is the native soil and ground of these deserts in this part of the desert in southern Nevada. And it is rock, And sand, guys, it's like a elusive sand. So when you add water to this, what it does is that it kind of just sucks up and it acts as a quicksand, and you literally will sink in. And if I plant cover crops in this, the root system, the plants are going to suffocate. So it's filled with so much clay, but very soft, powdery sand. It's almost like beach sand. It reminds me of beach sand. And it's just really, really difficult to grow anything in this. So after realizing that and finding out that my soil is impossible to grow cover crops in it, I think that you would spend way too much resources, way too much money to even try to do it. I right away came to the conclusion, well, I'm going to have to just container garden and do raised flower beds and grow like that. But again, the amount of resources that it takes, even for that, this last growing season in 2024, I was able to grow out of 60 container garden. My container garden has 60 pots, and I was able to grow from them, and that's with vegetables and flowers and wildflowers. And I also did DIY tire flower beds, 3 of them that I found tires on the side of the highway, and I repurposed them and made wildflower beds out of them. And I grew wildflowers and sunflowers from them, and that was great. But the heat came. So this part of the desert gets extremely hot. And when I mean extremely hot, I mean like 125 to 128 degrees. So if anybody out there is wondering what that feels like, take a blow dryer, plug it in, put it on the highest amount heat it goes, and constantly blow it on you, and do it for 12 to 14 hours a day. Constant. That's what it was like. It was terrible. You can feel the heat through your boots. It can burn the bottom of your feet if you stand long enough on the ground. I mean, it was intense, very intense. So I had to purchase sunshade. I had to purchase right away shade cloth, and because I needed something fast and quick to be shipped to me, so I said shade cloth. I purchased 90% shade cloth, and I had it over my entire garden. So I lost plants, I lost crops, I lost harvest. I wasn't able to do a full harvest like I really wanted to for me and my kids, being first year off grid. And I know, and I've gardened before, years before, so I have experience in gardening, but I wasn't able to get a good harvest because the heat was just so intense. It killed a lot of my plants and bolted a lot, and a lot of plants did not like this environment. So that was very heartbreaking. That cost a lot of money to just try out here, and it took a lot of my savings, and it's gone. So, and then after that disaster, another one came, being that I wasn't able to live on this property. Me and my kids could not live on this property during the summer months. And out here, the really intense heat summer months is a good 3 to 4 months out of the year. Some people will say it's 6 months, but I've been living in the desert all my life, pretty much, and I can take heat. When we bought the old ranch home in Pahrump, we were pretty much off grid there, even though we were on the grid, because I was paying for a power bill, but we were off grid because our AC went out the entire summer anyways, and we didn't have heat. So, you know, that's why I always say it's my second year off grid, but this is my first truly off grid, being off grid. But yeah, the heat was so bad, we couldn't live on the property, so there was a good 3 to 4 months we were not on the property, and we had to go, and I had to spend a lot of my savings in motel rooms and campsites and, you know, to escape the heat so we can survive the summer. So with all that being said, make sure that if you're going to buy property and you decide to go off grid, visit the property at least more than twice, I recommend, because I did visit this town twice, and you know, truly you really don't know until you live somewhere exactly what the environment is. Even if you Google and you research throughout the year and you do all those, Google is not 100% accurate, and you know, it's AI, it's technology. They don't truly know until you really truly live on it. But if you visit it more often, at least that I did, if I would have visited in the summertime, I would definitely have not purchased this property. I wouldn't have purchased this land for sure, because I want to purchase a land that I can live on it full time and homestead and garden with me and my kids. That's the dream, that's the goal, right? So visit the property, visit in the spring and summer, because those are the growing seasons, and that's the time that you really need to measure where the sun is, what's the highest temperatures of the day, and you know, all that layout is truly important. So that's what I'm going to be doing in 2025. So what did I learn from all of this? I learned that I'm going to be doing my diligence a lot more deeper, which means I'm going to be calling the county, asking them questions, making sure the zoning is appropriate for what I want to do, and let them know what I want to do. So that way I'm not going to have no problems. That's number one. Number two is I am going to be visiting the site in the spring and the summer before purchasing the property. And I'm not just going to dive in like I did, because I was so excited to do this. And we lost a ton of money and went through a lot of heartbreak because of that. And number three is I am not going to be purchasing a lot of acreage. No. I'm going to be purchasing 1 acre, the most, or even a half an acre, or maybe even a quarter, because you can homestead, you can farm. I've looked into videos of mini farms and micro farming, and it's possible to farm on a quarter of an acre, even less. So I'm going to be doing those 3 things in 2025 for sure. Starting up a small family farm and homestead, so I can eventually do a farm stand, farmer's market, and live off our land, earn a little bit of income from our land, and just all of that amazing self-reliance and self-sustainability is what I want to do. I'm trying, at this point, I want to try to grow 50% of what we consume, at least that, because that's going to help a whole lot. So thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed to my videos, to my channel. Thank you so much for all the likes and the comments. I really do appreciate each and every one who does take the time to listen and watch my videos. I love to share, and I love to try to inspire, because even if you're a single parent, and even if you want to do something like this, but you're scared because you're a single parent and you don't have that extra person or partner to rely on, only yourself, you could still do it. I am living proof of it. So thanks again for watching.